Under the bed.
The bed? Yeah.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, yeah. All right.
This is the worst case I have ever seen as far as the facts go.
They raided the Phoenix facility in hazmat suits as part of a multi-state investigation into the illegal trafficking and sale of human body parts. But for the first time, we're now able to see the testimony from one of the FBI agents who conducted the raid, and what he recounts is shocking.
Why file this right now? Let's just start there, the timing of it.
Jesse, great to be on as always, and I guess better late than never when it comes to the Department of Justice. But really, 1 month before trial is...
The FBI just stormed the courtroom and the air is electric. This isn't just another legal drama. It's a seismic shift in the case that could redefine everything. Diddy, the man who once ruled the music world with a velvet glove and a golden tongue, now faces a reckoning that feels like it's been decades in the making. The new evidence, delivered with the urgency of a bombshell, has the courtroom in a frenzy. This isn't just about a trial. It's about the unraveling of a legend, the collapse of a carefully constructed narrative, and the moment when the law finally steps in to say, this is over. For years, Diddy has navigated the murky waters of fame, power, and controversy with a mix of charm, intimidation, and calculated silence. His legal battles have always been a spectacle, but this is different. The FBI's sudden intervention signals a level of seriousness that leaves no room for ambiguity. The evidence they've brought isn't just another piece of the puzzle, it's a hammer smashing the last remaining shards of his defense. If this case is the final chapter, it's written in blood, betrayal, and the weight of a truth that can't be ignored. The first argument that's impossible to ignore is the sheer gravity of the new evidence. The FBI's decision to storm the courtroom wasn't a mere procedural move. It was a declaration. This isn't a case that can be resolved with a few more witnesses or a few more hours of testimony. The evidence they've presented is so damning that it's already rewriting the narrative. Diddy's legal team, which has spent months building a case that hinges on the idea of misunderstanding and misinterpretation, now faces a reality that's hard to reconcile. If this evidence is what it seems, it's not just a new twist, it's the final verdict. The FBI's involvement suggests that the evidence is credible, irrefutable, and directly tied to criminal activity. This could be anything from financial fraud to coercion, or even acts of violence that have been buried under layers of...
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
I need to have another one of these.
Amen, amen.
Shit. I kind of get one here.
Right.
After that, I don't really kind of know where to go. Let me, one more time.
Right.
We good now?
Because the people want to know, well, why would he get blackballed?
Yeah,
oh, because,
I was gonna ask you that.
Because in 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man...
Legal maneuvering. The prosecution's case has always been built on a foundation of circumstantial details. But now, the weight of the FBI's intervention shifts the balance. Diddy's defense, which has relied on the idea that he's a victim of misinterpretation and that the legal system is too slow to catch up, is now facing a reality that's hard to counter. The courtroom, which once buzzed with the possibility of a plea deal or a lenient sentence, now feels like a battlefield where the outcome is no longer in question. This isn't just about the evidence. It's about the power of the FBI to tip the scales. In a case that's already been scrutinized for months, their sudden appearance is a reminder that the law isn't just a game of lawyers and loopholes. It's a force that can't be ignored. And when the FBI steps in, it's a signal that the case has reached a point where the outcome is no longer about the details, but about the truth. Diddy's legal team, which has always prided itself on its ability to outmaneuver the system, now faces a challenge that's impossible to spin. The evidence is so overwhelming that it's not just a new chapter, it's the end of the story. But the implications go Beyond the courtroom, this moment is a turning point for Diddy, a man who has spent decades building his empire on the idea that he's untouchable. The FBI's intervention isn't just a legal move. It's a cultural reckoning. For years, Diddy has been a symbol of power, privilege, and the kind of influence that can bend the rules. But now, the law is saying, not anymore. The new evidence isn't just a legal tool, it's a message that even the most powerful can be brought down if the truth is undeniable. The second argument that's impossible to ignore is the way this moment is shifting public perception. The FBI's dramatic entrance, the way the courtroom has erupted, and the sheer weight of the new evidence are all fueling a narrative that's hard to ignore. For months, Diddy's supporters have argued that the case is
And was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing?
You will tell it.
No, somebody come to tell me.
Okay.
I gather that, I value that, I'll pay for that. Come, tell me. I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it. Why? Because you don't make me the villain. Not the guy that raises black children and ain't never done a hard drug in his life and don't have no stories of doing nobody dirty. And they'll just go out and they'll lie. The industry doesn't mess with Cat because he didn't show up for the studio. No studios have ever said that. Look at my IMDb. It will show you that no studio has ever lost money with me on the script. How? That's why I'm saying, that's why I can't let Ricky Smiley say he was supposed to play Money Mike, because I wrote the words for Money Mike. I designed the hair for Money Mike. I collaborated with the wardrobe department and made outfits to make sure that no one in America would be wearing
witch hunt, that the media is out to get him, and that the legal system is being manipulated to protect his interests. But now, the public is starting to see the cracks in that narrative. The evidence is so shocking, so undeniable, that it's forcing people to ask questions they've avoided for too long. This isn't just about the case, it's about the way the media and the public are reacting to it. The FBI's intervention has turned the trial into a spectacle, and that's a dangerous thing. In a world where celebrities are often shielded by the system, this moment is a reminder that even the most protected can be exposed. Diddy's legal team has always been able to count on the support of his allies, but now the public is starting to see the truth in a way that's hard to ignore. The media, which has long been a battleground for Diddy's image, is now playing a role in shaping the narrative in a way that's hard to control. The public's perception is shifting because the evidence is so compelling. Diddy, who once commanded the attention of millions with his charisma and charm, now faces a reality where the same people who once cheered for him are now questioning everything. The FBI's involvement has made it impossible to ignore the possibility that this case is more than just a legal dispute. It's a reckoning. The public is starting to see that the evidence isn't just about the law. It's about the kind of person Diddy is, the way the courtroom has reacted, the way the media is reporting it, and the way the public is discussing it, all signal a shift in how people are viewing him. This shift in perception isn't just about the case, it's about the culture that has long celebrated Diddy as a king of the industry. For years, he's been a symbol of success, of power, and of the kind of influence that can shape the world. But now, the public is starting to see him in a different light. The evidence, combined with the FBI's intervention, is forcing people to confront the idea that Diddy isn't just a victim of circumstance. He's a man who has made choices, and those...
This trial is expected to last about 8 weeks. And generally, trial will be held 5 days per week, Monday through Friday. During the first week of trial, Monday, May 12th, 2025, through Friday, May 16th, 2025, trial will be held from 9:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. After the first week, trial will be held from 9:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. Trial will not be held on Friday, May 23rd, Monday, May 26th, Thursday, June 19th, Friday, July 4th. These are all the holidays. But going back to the celebrities for a second, I found it very interesting that the jurors were asked, you know, is there anybody on this list that you know? Michael B. Jordan, Kid Cudi, who you and I both know, became a component in Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. We believe Cassie's going to be a part of this case, probably victim one. The allegation is that she had a romantic relationship with him, that Sean Combs may have blown up his car at one point. I didn't know what the connection of Mike Myers, the actor, I didn't know what the connection Michael B. Jordan might be. Kanye West, I mean, as far as I know, Elizabeth,
choices are now being judged by the law and by the public. The third argument that's impossible to ignore is the way this moment is disrupting the trial itself. The FBI's sudden appearance has thrown the entire case into chaos. forcing the court to address questions that were never part of the original proceedings. This isn't just about the evidence. It's about the procedural fallout, the legal battles that will follow, and the way the trial is now being reshaped by a force that wasn't part of the original plan. The courtroom, which was once a place of controlled chaos, now feels like a war zone. The FBI's intervention has forced the court to deal with questions about the admissibility of the evidence, the credibility of the witnesses, and the timeline of the case. This isn't just a delay, it's a complete upheaval of the trial structure. The legal team for Diddy, which has spent months preparing for a trial that was supposed to be a battle of wits, now faces a reality where the rules of the game have changed. The evidence the FBI has brought isn't just a new piece of the puzzle, it's a game changer. That's forcing the court to reconsider everything. This disruption is also a symbol of the larger power dynamics at play. The FBI's involvement isn't just about the evidence, it's about the way the law is being used to challenge the status quo. Diddy, who has long been a symbol of the kind of power that can bend the rules, now finds himself facing a force that can't be ignored. The trial, which was once a matter of legal strategy, is now a battleground where the law is being tested in a way that's hard to predict. The procedural fallout could lead to delays, motions, and even the possibility of a mistrial if the evidence is too controversial. But the court isn't just dealing with the legal implications of the evidence, it's dealing with the broader implications of a case that's now a symbol of something larger. This isn't just about Diddy. It's about the way the legal system is being used to hold powerful people accountable. The FBI's intervention has made it clear
who did not or who were not familiar with these certain people. Now, as far as places goes, I don't know the full extent of what was asked as far as places goes, but there was this one juror who did kind of talk about a hotel, the Essex House Hotel, that was on the list of places that prospective jurors were asked about. And this juror in particular, he just said, you know, he had worked at this particular hotel sometime last year and all of that sort. Now, as far as some of the other questions that were asked, you know, they were asked simple questions as far as, do you know any additional information about this case? Do you have any training in addictive treatment, domestic violence, sexual abuse? Do you have any views about prosecutors or law enforcement? Have you been involved in legal issues such as a lawsuit, such as a criminal case? Have you been a victim of a crime? Do you have feelings about law enforcement, hip-hop artists, witnesses testifying under immunity, witnesses also testifying under a pseudonym? And is there any reason that you wouldn't be able to serve as a prospective juror? Now, some of these questions, especially when it comes to
that the law isn't just a tool for the powerful, it's a force that can be used to challenge them. This moment is also a reminder of the way the legal system can be influenced by public pressure. The FBI's intervention has turned the trial into a public spectacle, and that's a dangerous thing in a case that's already been scrutinized for months. The pressure to deliver a verdict that's seen as fair and just is mounting. The court is now faced with the challenge of balancing the need for a fair trial with the growing public demand for justice. This isn't just a legal battle, it's a cultural reckoning. A moment where the law is being tested in a way that's hard to ignore. But for Diddy, this moment is the end of an era. The FBI's intervention, the new evidence, and the shifting public perception all point to a reality that he can't escape. This isn't just about the case, it's about the kind of person he is, the choices he's made, and the legacy he's trying to build. The courtroom, the media, and the public are all now part of a narrative that's hard to control. The law, once a tool he could manipulate, is now a force that's forcing him to confront the consequences of his actions. In the end, this moment is a turning point. The FBI's storming of the courtroom isn't just a legal event, it's a cultural moment that's reshaping the story of Diddy. The new evidence, the public's shifting perception, and the disruption of the trial all point to a reality that's impossible to ignore. This isn't just the end of a trial. It's the end of an era for a man who once thought he could control everything. The law, the media, and the public are all now part of a narrative that's hard to escape. And for Diddy, this is the moment when the game is over. The FBI's sudden escalation in a high-profile case has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond, igniting a firestorm of speculation about the intersection of fame, power, and the rule of law. As federal agents intensify their investigation, the spotlight has
like legal issues, criminal issues. Surprisingly, a lot of people were very forthcoming, whether it be that they were in a DUI accident, that being that they were the victim of a DUI accident. One woman had talked about how she stole a wand from Harry Potter World.
Yeah.
A lot of these jurors have been very transparent as far as being honest about some of the legal issues that they've dealt with in their past.
I definitely want to get into all that for sure. And by the way, just before I get into a little bit more of the celebrity aspect, so I understand the judge came in, brought the jurors in, read them preliminary instructions, and just so everybody knows what we're dealing with, I'm reading from this document that was released. Don't do any research on this case. Don't discuss your questions and answers or the case with anyone or until further instructed by the court. But listen to the schedule. Potential jurors will be called back for further questioning and jury selection from Monday, May 5th through Friday, May 9th. Your availability during that week will be required. The trial will commence on Monday, May 12th, 2025. That's again assuming they can get a jury by that time.
Shifted from the alleged crimes themselves to the broader implications of how institutional authority navigates the murky waters of celebrity influence. This is not just about a single case. It's about the fragile balance between public perception and systemic accountability, the way fame can shield or condemn, and the unsettling reality that even the most powerful figures are not immune to the machinery of justice. What began as a legal inquiry has now become a cultural reckoning, forcing us to confront uncomfortable questions about who truly holds the power in a world where truth is often obscured by reputation. At the center of this storm is a name that has long been synonymous with influence, wealth, and a carefully curated image of success. For decades, this individual has built a legacy that transcends entertainment, weaving themselves into the fabric of popular culture through music, media, and an unshakable presence in the public eye. Their career has been marked by moments of triumph, controversy, and reinvention, each chapter adding to the mythos that has made them a household name. Yet, as the FBI's probe gains momentum, the narrative surrounding their public persona is beginning to crack. The sudden flood of evidence, initially dismissed as whispers in the shadows, now threatens to unravel the layers of protection that fame has historically offered. This is not merely a legal battle, it's a confrontation between the illusion of invincibility and the unrelenting pursuit of truth. The case itself has taken on a life of its own, evolving beyond the specifics of the alleged actions to become a symbol of a larger debate. At its core, it's about the power of institutions to hold individuals accountable, regardless of their status. The FBI, as one of the most formidable law enforcement agencies in the United States, has long been tasked with enforcing federal laws and ensuring that no one, regardless of their influence, operates above the law. Yet, the way
questions too, and maybe we'll put it up. But Elizabeth, you give us a general brief idea about what were some of the questions they were asked.
Well, some of the questions included just people and places, whether or not there was a whole laundry list of celebrities and whether or not these prospective jurors were familiar with them. You know, they ranged from Kanye West to Michael B. Jordan to Young Miami to Dallas Austin, who's a music producer, to Harve Pierre, who actually was named as one of the defendants in one of Diddy's civil suits. And so prospective jurors were asked who they knew, and most of them were very honest about their answering. They were like, you know what, I don't know them personally, but I do recognize, for example, Michael B. Jordan from movies. Obviously, Sinners is very popular right now, so of course that is probably going to be the name most were able to answer yes or no to. But I was kind of surprised at how many people didn't know of these laundry lists of popular celebrities, especially when you have names like Kanye West on there, especially when you have names like, you know, Michael B. Jordan, that type of sort. But there were some prospective jurors.
This case has unfolded has raised questions about the extent to which these institutions can navigate the complexities of high-profile investigations. Are they driven by a genuine commitment to justice, or are they responding to external pressures, public sentiment, or the need to maintain credibility in an era of heightened scrutiny? The answer may not be clear, but the implications are profound. The sudden emergence of new evidence has sent ripples through the legal and public spheres, forcing everyone involved to reckon with the consequences of their actions. What was once a matter of private dispute has now become a public spectacle, with every detail scrutinized, every statement dissected, and every rumor amplified. This is the nature of fame in the digital age. The line between personal life and public accountability has blurred, and the weight of expectation has grown heavier. Those involved, the stakes are no longer just about legal consequences. They're about reputation, legacy, and the erosion of the carefully constructed image that has defined their career. The FBI's escalation has acted as a catalyst, accelerating the unraveling of a narrative that has long been shielded by the power of celebrity. But this case is also a mirror, reflecting the broader challenges of navigating a world where institutional power and personal influence often collide. The FBI's role in this investigation is not just about enforcing the law, it's about upholding the principle that no one is above the law. Yet, the way this case has unfolded raises questions about the mechanisms of accountability. How do institutions like the FBI balance the need to act decisively with the risk of overreach? How do they navigate the complex web of public opinion, media, scrutiny, and the pressure to deliver results in high-profile cases? The answer lies in the delicate interplay between transparency, justice, and the human element of law enforcement. The implications of this case extend far beyond the individual's
They feel confident in getting an acquittal here or putting the prosecution's feet to the fire. I want to move on to a little bit about what happened today. You and I had spoken earlier today about who was there for him. Attorneys there for him. Mark Garagos now there is in a more of a consultant role. So you have the attorneys, you have the prosecutors in court. I want to talk about the jury. Okay, so it's my understanding that prospective jurors came in last week. They filled out these questionnaires, and based on their responses, that number is going to be ultimately whittled down to the jurors who were selected in this case. So first, before we even get into the ins and outs of what jurors said in court, can you just give us a brief snapshot of what were some of the questions that these jurors were asked in their questionnaires, because that became a big focus of their today, what their responses were. So, and I know, and by the way, just to let everybody know, a little while ago, the court actually released preliminary instructions in this case, and some of those
directly involved. It has sparked a conversation about the nature of power in modern society and the ways in which institutions are both shaped by and resistant to the forces of fame. In an era where celebrities wield immense influence over public discourse, the FBI's actions have become a test of whether these institutions can operate with impartiality or if they are inevitably swayed by the weight of public perception. This is not a question of right or wrong. It's a question of how systems are designed to function in a world where the boundaries between personal and public life are increasingly porous. For the individual at the center of this storm, the situation is both a reckoning and a challenge. Their career has been built on the ability to navigate the complexities of fame, to maintain control over their narrative, and to shield themselves from the scrutiny that comes with public life. Yet if the FBI's escalation has exposed the limits of that control, the evidence that has surfaced is not just a legal issue, it's a personal reckoning, forcing them to confront the reality that their carefully crafted image may not be as impervious as they once believed. This is not a moment of defeat, but a turning point, a moment where the weight of their legacy is being tested against the unyielding force of institutional authority. The case has also become a microcosm of a larger societal shift. As the public grapples with the implications of this investigation, it's clear that the balance of power is in flux. The idea that fame can insulate someone from the consequences of their actions is being challenged, and the narrative of celebrity as a form of immunity is being dismantled. This is not just about one individual, it's about the evolving relationship between power, accountability, and the institutions that are meant to uphold the rule of law. The FBI's actions have forced a reckoning with the idea that fame, no matter how extensive, cannot shield someone from the consequences of their actions. In the broader context, this case serves as a reminder of the fragility.
However, it's somebody who has been very, who Diddy is obviously very familiar with, that being his son's other brother from a different relationship, because it's a tangled family web as far as everything goes with the family and everything like that. But while Justin Combs wasn't inside the courtroom, his brother was, and I think Diddy kind of looked at both of those two associates and then Justin Combs' brother kind of as support, kind of as like a nice presence to be inside the courtroom, because I do think he relies a lot on the support of his family and of his loved ones to be inside that courtroom. But again, we still have 2 more months of trial, so I assume, you know, his mother, his daughter, maybe possibly his daughters, but at least bare minimum his sons will be inside that courtroom. If they'll be there every day, that's a wait and see, but I'm sure for opening statements they definitely will be.
And I got to say, I'm not surprised. If he meant it, he's nervous. Look, it's not only decades. He could potentially face life in prison if he's convicted of the most serious charge. And look, his defense team was pushing forward to get this in front of a jury as soon as possible. It seems the
ability of reputation in a world where truth is often obscured by public perception. The FBI's escalation has acted as a catalyst, forcing everyone involved to confront the reality that their carefully constructed image may not be as secure as they once believed. This is not a moment of crisis. but an opportunity for reflection, a chance to examine the ways in which institutions, individuals, and society at large navigate the complex interplay between power, accountability, and the pursuit of justice. The implications of this case are far-reaching, touching on the very foundations of how power is exercised and how accountability is enforced. It has become a test of whether institutions like the FBI can operate with impartiality in the face of public scrutiny, or if they are inevitably shaped by the forces of celebrity and media. This is not just about one case. It's about the broader question of how society balances the need for justice with the realities of fame and influence. The FBI's actions have forced a reckoning with the idea that no one, regardless of their status, is above the law. As the investigation continues, the focus will inevitably shift to the mechanisms of accountability and the ways in which institutions can navigate the complexities of high-profile cases. The FBI's role in this process is not just about enforcing the law, it's about upholding the principle that justice must be blind to power, wealth, or influence. This is a test of whether these institutions can operate with integrity in a world where the weight of public opinion can be as formidable as the force of law itself. The outcome of this case will not only shape the future of the individuals involved, but will also serve as a benchmark for how society views the intersection of power, accountability, and the rule of law. Ultimately, this case is a reflection of the broader challenges facing modern society. It highlights the tension between personal influence and institutional authority, the fragility of reputation.
We've kind of presumed that as well too, because obviously since he's been incarcerated, his hair has been great. He did come in today, his face wasn't completely shaven, so his goatee was a little white as well too. But when he had first come into the courtroom, he did what he usually does. He hugged all of his attorneys. He looked outside, or he looked into the gallery to see who was there as far as family goes. Unfortunately, no immediate family was inside the courtroom today. But again, we have 2 more months to go of trial, so it's likely that they'll be here for opening statements. But that's, unclear as far as what family members will be there at what times, that type of sort. But as far as today inside the courtroom, it was really that associate or member of his entourage who, again, was wearing that free puff hat, that free puff sweatshirt. But instead, he had to flip it inside out, as we probably presumed, because those prospective jurors are going to be coming into that same courtroom where we're sitting as the press, where his associates are sitting. So he had to turn that shirt inside out. And what I did also spot was Justin Combs' brother inside the courtroom too. Now with Justin Combs' brother, we have to remember that he is not Diddy's son.
In the face of scrutiny and the evolving nature of accountability, in an era where fame and power are inextricably linked, the FBI's escalation has acted as a catalyst, forcing a reckoning with the idea that no one is truly immune to the consequences of their actions. As the investigation unfolds, it will serve as a reminder that the pursuit of justice is not just about enforcing the law. It's about upholding the principles that ensure that power is held in check, and that accountability is the foundation upon which society is built. For viewers, this case offers a glimpse into the complexities of power and the enduring struggle for justice in a world where fame and influence can shape the narrative in ways that are both profound and unpredictable. It is a story that transcends the individuals involved, touching on the very fabric of how society defines accountability, justice, and the role of institutions in maintaining the balance of power. As the FBI's actions continue to unfold, the lessons learned from this case will resonate far beyond the courtroom, shaping the way we think about the intersection of fame, power, and the rule of law. In the end, this case is more than just a legal inquiry. It's a moment of reckoning, a test of whether institutions can rise above the forces of celebrity and media to uphold the principles of justice. It is a reminder that no one, regardless of their status, is beyond the reach of the law. And as the investigation continues, it will serve as a powerful reminder that the pursuit of truth, even in the face of immense pressure, is the cornerstone of a just society. If you've enjoyed this exploration of the intersection between fame, power, and justice, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. And don't forget to like and share this video to spread the conversation. Together, we can keep asking the hard questions and ensuring that the pursuit of justice remains a priority in an ever-changing landscape.
Find more credible? 80% say Cassie, 20% say Diddy. Serena, you think that's going to be consistent with what the jury's thinking at this point? Or it's very difficult to know because, again, there's one thing how we're listening to the transcript, or at least we're reading from the transcript, versus how the questioning is done inside that courtroom. What do you think?
So much plays a role here, Jesse. It goes in every different direction. First of all, the people who are taking the poll are almost self-selected, right? They're obviously interested and have been following the Diddy case for a long time. They might actually know, your law and crime viewers might know a lot more about this case than the jurors do, at least at this point. And so it's hard to say whether it's going to, spill over to how the jury feels. On the other hand, the jury is supposed to be objective. It's supposed to reflect the community, and hopefully the jury is listening very, very intently to all of the testimony, both the cross and also the direct from the prosecution.
Well, listen, you again were a willing participant. You continue this relationship with him. And the defense is highlighting that through those text messages and through the conversations Ms. Ventura has been having. But it also goes both ways, because also in those text messages, which there are some ones for the prosecution here, she discusses how he has been physically violent towards her. They discuss the freak offs and a number of other things that really go to show that there was some sort of physical violence within the relationship, threats of force and things like that, which the government essentially has to prove. So the jury is going to determine how credible Ms. Ventura is, and the judge will instruct them on how to determine that. And they will be able to decide whether or not those text messages are consistent with her credibility, and if they either bolster or affirm her credibility or discredit her.
Well, I'll tell you what, we did a poll up on Law and Crime. This was the question. After hearing both the allegations and the defense cross-examination so far, who do you find questions that we got? And I want to pull it up right now. Let me just pull it up where it was, where we got it. It was a good question. Now I'm having trouble finding it. Okay. This is a question from Jaden Jarrell. I'm going to throw this to you, Safa. Do you think the text messages make her not credible? And when we think about text messages, I'll give you an example. This was one from, apparently she wrote to Combs in an email. In order for me to be more open with the things we do in bed, I need to feel safe, like home, like this is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive sexual side of me. When we used to freak off, when we were so in love, there were no questions asked. It felt right, like it literally made sense for the next step in our sex life together. What do you think?
The text messages certainly will weigh on her credibility. I think what we've heard, or what we're hearing now through the cross-examination, is the defense attorney essentially using these text messages to say to her.
Again, participating in his defense, he's very much eyeballing these exhibits. He's writing notes down. He's conferring, with Mark Agnifilo and who's sitting right beside him, who normally sits kind of at the end of the table, but for today he's sitting right beside Diddy. And so that's pretty much the big sticking points that I'm definitely seeing with this cross-examination so far. And again, we still have so much more to go, according to the defense. They're not even scratching the surface yet, according to them.
Not surprisingly, I think it was said today, this is the star witness of the prosecution's case. I think the defense, their case, is mostly wrapped up in how Cassandra Ventura appears in front of this jury. So I'm not surprised it's going to take some time. Elizabeth, I wish we had a little bit more time, but I know you have to jump back into that courtroom. So thank you so much. We're going to get you back later on in the day. Elizabeth Milner, great reporting as always. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
All right, so I want to continue the conversation and take your questions right now about this. I'm back here with Saf. I'm back here with Serena. So one of the...
as well, too, still in cross-examination, something that the judge was a little like, whoa, what are you guys talking about? You guys told me that you would be wrapped up today or possibly tomorrow. And the defense said today that they still have so much more to go over, to the point that this could drag into Friday and possibly even spill over into Monday if they have to do redirect or even have to do recross. And so that was something that they were ironing out as soon as the lunch break hit, right when I was leaving to come out here to speak with you. And